Welcome back again to Joe Stunner Boxing. You may be aware that this coming Saturday, Joshua Buatsi makes his debut for Boxer on Sky TV. Ben Shalom signed him not long after he signed Lawrence Okolie. And Shalom will be hoping for a more entertaining fight than Lawrence Okolie's Sky debut, well, not Sky debut, but Boxer debut, when he fought David Light from New Zealand, and it was an incredibly, crushingly dull fight. Shalom has talked about Okolie being the face of Sky boxing and all this sort of thing. Well, he'll want Buatsi, his other big signing, recent signing, a defection from Matchroom. He'll want Buatsi to put on a better performance, and he is going to fight a guy from Poland called Pawel Stepien. I've no doubt it's pronounced differently in Polish, but Pawel Stepien, undefeated, 18 wins with 12 KOs, no defeats and one draw, and the draw was back in 2019. It was a split draw over 10, and that was for the Polish light heavyweight title, which I think at the time was vacant, according to BoxRec anyway. But the guy's undefeated, but he's fought, I think, all of his fights in Poland, and there aren't any. I mean, I've got to be honest with you, I didn't know a great deal about this guy at all. I think I'd read about him and seen drips and drabs on YouTube, and that was it. But that's not to say he's bad. I mean, David Light came over from New Zealand and, gave Okolie the runaround. Okolie won easily, but he made him work for the win and kind of shut down Okolie in many respects. And maybe Pawel Stepien could do the same with Buatsi. You don't know. But Buatsi himself is undefeated, 16 wins with 13 KOs, no draws, no defeats. And, he had a chance, didn't he, was it Beterbiev he was going to fight? One of the champs. And he turned it down. Was it Beterbiev? Have I got that wrong? I think I might have. But anyway, he wanted to defect from Matchroom and DAZN to Sky. He made remarks about DAZN being, a platform that not many people bothered with, and not many people knew he was fighting, so he wanted to go back to Sky. Okay, fair enough. Well, a year ago, in May 2022, only a few weeks shy of an entire year, he had his last fight. That was against Craig Richards, and it was a very good fight. I enjoyed that fight a lot. And Buatsi won a close decision, and Richards, he left with his own stock enhanced, but I thought Buatsi won it, but it was difficult. Richards made it interesting. Before that, you've got to go back to 2021, where Buatsi fought Ricard Bolotniks, who, by the way, is fighting, I want to say, Gvoznik over the weekend, somewhere in Europe. I can't remember where. But Bolotniks is one of those good European level fighters, not quite world level, and he gave Buatsi a good fight. Buatsi eventually stopped him in 11 rounds. Bolotniks has got some good wins on his record. He's not a bad fighter. And prior to that, in 2021 also, Buatsi fought the undefeated Daniel Dos Santos, and he was up 15-0 at the time. Buatsi got rid of him in only 4 rounds. So his recent form hasn't been too bad. It's just that you expected more of him, as an Olympian, and you expect him to be fast-tracked. And in fact, Buatsi is 30 years old now. So he's not old, but by this point you would think he'd have at least challenged for a world title, which Eddie Hearn set up, and Buatsi said it came with stipulations, what do you call it, options and all that sort of thing. So he decided to jump ship, but he's really got to look good against Pawel Stepien. I think not only for his own sake, he has been, like I say, nearly a year out. But he's got to look good for Sky, for Boxer, Ben Shalom. He's got to really make a statement now. He's up against an undefeated guy who I would expect him to beat, probably by stoppage. This is a difficult one to predict because I haven't seen a great deal of Pawel Stepien. But the guy can. He's got some pop in his punches. 18 wins and 12 KOs. There's a little bit of power there. And he has got victories over a couple of undefeated people. He beat a guy whose name escapes me. I can't remember his name. He was 14-0 at the time. That was back in 2021. He stopped him in 5 rounds. Can't remember the guy's name. And he's had some half decent wins. But if you look at 2022, he had 2 fights against journeyman, and one guy who was, I think, 6 wins and 7 defeats, took him the distance. And prior to that, he had another journeyman fighter. He won a majority decision over 8. So they were 2 8-rounders in 2022. I don't know, really. Yeah, in 2021, he won the IBF Intercontinental Light Heavyweight title, the old get you a ranking trinket. But from what I've seen of him, he's not bad. He's a sort of straight up and down fighter. Doesn't do anything bad. Doesn't do anything particularly spectacularly. I would expect Buatsi to deal with him. The power to be too much. I think Stepien will probably try and box, try and move a bit, stay out of trouble. Not unlike the way, well, actually, I was going to say not unlike the way David Light fought Okolie, but David Light actually tried. He couldn't. He was outclassed in every aspect of the game, but he tried to put it on Okolie, and then it developed into a bit of a wrestling match. I think Stepien will move his feet a bit more. Will try to nullify Buatsi's power. I think Buatsi will turn into the hunter. I don't think Stepien will exchange that often. He'll try and maybe pot shots. Maybe try to land the jab and then hang the right hand off it occasionally. If Buatsi has things his own way, he might sort of fall asleep at the wheel, so to speak, and start looking too much for the power. He's done that in the past. But I expect him to stop Stepien in about, I'd say, the middle round, sort of 5 to 8 rounds. What am I going to go with? I always like to pick a specific round. I'd go with the 7th round. I think he'll knock him out in the 7th round. Buatsi will stop him in the 7th round. But that is a prediction based on, my hands are sort of tired because, like I say, I haven't seen a great deal of this Polish guy. Not much at all, in fact. I can only go by like reports in Boxing News that have been there and bits I've seen online. I don't think he's got anything from what I've seen to trouble Buatsi, though, to be honest with you. Even though he has a little bit of power. But I think Buatsi gets him out of there in about 7 rounds. So I'll go for the 7th. So are you looking forward to this fight? Let me know your opinions. Leave them down below in the comments section. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It takes a second to hit that subscribe button. You'll be doing me a big, big favour. And the like button as well. If you like the video, hit the like button. That always helps as well. So thank you for your time, as always. And yeah, more videos to come, of course. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy your day. Bye for now.